Welcome to Creepypasta Theater, a show where we explore the strange world of creepypasta. Join us as we hear tales best left untold, travel roads best left unexplored, and see sights best left unseen. Today's story, Normal Game. Author unknown. This story can be found on creepypasta.wikia.com and is protected by Creative Commons license. Okay, so I guess this is a good place to post this. I looked online and couldn't find any specific communities that related to my current situation. I found a game. It's an emulator that I found when looking for less than legal versions of older Super Nintendo games. I was scrolling down through the pages of Google, searching, though most of what I could find ran terribly on my old laptop. That was until I found normalgames.com. I tried to search the URL, but it seems for some odd reason not to work. The only clear way of accessing this site is by finding the link on the original Google pages. Now, I'm no programmer, but I assume that this isn't normal. First, upon opening the site, I was greeted by two things: a logo, which was just normalgames.com in pink, bold, Comic Sans, and a play button in the center of the black screen. I decided to click the play button after about 5 seconds of thinking it over. Luckily, I had a fairly good and up-to-date antivirus that would most likely have alerted me if anything strange was going on in the link. No such alert appeared, so I assumed it was safe to enter. The play button loaded, and a title screen for a game came up. Though it was no game I'd ever seen. There was no title, just a plain black background with 3 options. These options being play, load, and exit, respectively. I decided to choose play. Once I did, a barely audible beeping sound occurred as the screen changed. The text, Stage 1, appeared, now sporting a dark blue background. The level started. It seemed to be a basic platformer in which you control a simple-looking, orange smiling face. The ground was a light gray tint with a few small gaps to jump over. It was a very basic and bare-bones level with not much going on. There were no background elements, and the only sound was a slight rumble noise heard every time the main character would jump. Once I got to the last gray platform, the screen would again exit out and show the blue screen from before. This time it stated Stage 2, and soon afterwards the next stage started. Stage 2 introduced a new type of platform. It was orange, much like the player, and would move back and forth in a slow motion. Past this minor change, it was still a very simple and straightforward level. I got to the end with no conflict. As I reached the end of the stage, I awaited the blue screen that would transition to the next stage. Instead, what was shown was a dark purple screen which read Pop Quiz 1. Once it loaded, all that was on the screen was a large version of the smiley face you play as in the game, in front of the same purple background. Large text appeared on screen under the face which said, "It's time for a pop quiz." It then transitioned to a question as a small black timer set at 1 minute ticked down in the corner. The sound of the timer ticking being the only sound present. The question asked, "What color am I?" I assumed the I in this game was referring to the smiley face character. A text box appeared under the question. I typed in orange. The game text stated, "Correct," before heading to the next question. The next question asked, "What color is the sky?" At first I was a little confused. Did it mean the sky in the game or the sky in real life? I bit the bullet and typed in blue. Luckily it was correct and I was able to move on. The game stated, "Final question," before loading the question, "Are you alone?" This last question sent a strange shiver down my spine. It felt wrong. It hadn't outright threatened me, but I still didn't feel quite right. I wanted to say no, though at the time I was alone. What would this game even do with that limited amount of information anyway? It's not like you can track a person down just by knowing they're alone. So I decided to be honest and typed, yes. The timer was almost all the way out by now, so luckily the game abruptly switched to the blue transition screen once more. The screen read, Stage 4. I suppose the pop quiz count as a Stage 3. The level loaded into the familiar scene. Gray floors with no background objects in sight. I went through the level. It used the orange moving platforms from before, as well as introducing a new type. A purple platform, which would periodically, usually every 2 or 3 seconds, have spikes poke out of the top. So now I would have to take timing into consideration. Overall, the platforms only gave me a small bit of trouble. I got to the end and loaded into Stage 5. This time something was different. It was subtle, but I could distinctly hear a faint droning noise in the background. A new platform was added. This was a red platform. It was a faster variant of the orange platform from before. I almost fell a couple times and almost got caught on a purple platform, but I got through with no deaths. What came next was, as stated by the game, Pop Quiz 2. I was almost dreading this, even if not consciously. As much as I didn't want to admit it, the way the last quiz ended left me feeling a bit unsettled, especially with it getting late soon. What appeared was the same scene as I had seen it before. The purple background with the orange smiley in the top center of the screen. This time there was no introduction, it simply sent me straight into the questions. The first question appeared and read, "What was the color of the second platform introduced?" This question was a bit longer, but I answered purple. It did not confirm if it was correct or not, instead opting to go straight to the next question. What was the name of the 4th President of the United States? This question actually stumped me. Despite being an American, I know next to nothing about our presidents. I looked it up on my phone and answered, James Madison. Hope it doesn't mind me cheating, just a bit. It again went directly to the next question. What is your name? This was too far. I decided though, since I have already put so much time into this game to see it through, I answered with a fake name, David. But just as I hit enter, all the text on the screen disappeared and the timer set to 0. The text, "Don't lie to me," appeared before I was booted back to this title screen. I didn't feel right, but to a point it was almost intriguing. I noted that the droning noises present in the 5th level were now playing on the title screen. I hit the load button as the game started with the transition screen of Stage 7. The level started. This time, the droning noises had gotten louder still, but not too loud though. A new platform was introduced, something that had become the norm for every new platformer level. This time it was a yellow platform, which would slowly disappear if stood on for too long. The levels had been starting to ramp up in difficulty. It was still nothing too bad, but I definitely had to take care and time my jumps correctly. I soon finished the level and went on to the 8th level, which was labeled Final. The new platform this time was a pink platform, which would periodically shrink and grow in size. I definitely had some trouble with this platform. Timing was always something I've had a hard time with. I almost died many times while playing, but soon finished and, surprisingly, was met with another transition screen. The screen tinted that familiar dark purple of the quiz levels. This frightened me slightly due to my past experiences with these levels. Strangely, the transition showed no title. Instead, it cut straight to the quiz screen. No text appeared for a couple of seconds until suddenly the screen read, "Why?" The normal text box appeared, this time with no timer. This was a very open-ended question. I had no idea what this was referring to, so I typed, "I don't know." The text disappeared for a while, almost making me think the game had crashed. But suddenly more text appeared. "What is sentience?" The text box appeared once more. I had no idea how to respond, so again I typed, "I don't know." "Okay," it said finally. It was stuck on the screen like that for a while. I attempted to exit the tab, but for some reason I couldn't. "Stop," it said as I repeatedly attempted to press the escape key. Once I had stopped, a familiar question appeared on the screen. "Are you alone?" I didn't want to say yes, but it seemed to somehow know when I was lying. I typed, "Yes." It once again defaulted to "Okay." An image popped up on screen suddenly. It was blurry and dark, but I could clearly see a house depicted in the center. It must have been taken from behind a tree or a bush from the angle of the shot. Soon after, another picture was shown, a picture taken through my window. I could see the back of my own head, leaning down, staring into my computer screen. I quickly turned my body to the window directly behind me. The blinds had been left cracked open, which would give a clear view for anyone looking inside. I jumped out of my chair and got to the closest thing that could be used as a weapon, that being a metal pole which had once been a curtain rod. I reached into my pocket to grab my phone in order to dial 911, praying in my head that I had locked my door. I got through to an operator and told them my situation, stating that there was a person I did not know sneaking around my property. They said they would send somebody as fast as possible, to remain calm and to get something to defend myself with. I looked once more at the computer screen, and another picture was displayed. This time, of a kitchen. Inside my kitchen, to be exact. I know the cliche of your heart dropping, but I don't know how else to describe the feeling I felt at that very moment. I dashed for a closet near me and hid inside, pole ready to swing at anything that opened the door. I heard nothing for a long while, though it may have felt longer in the moment. I started to hear faint footsteps entering the room. They seemed almost relaxed, too relaxed for someone looking to cause harm. They slowly made a circle around the room, then stopped abruptly in front of the closet door. My breathing stopped. It was as if a large pressure was being pushed against my chest. I could hear them tapping, lightly at first, but soon the tapping turned into a pounding. They seemed to be getting glee from scaring the wits out of me. I tried my best to stay quiet, even though I knew that they knew I was there. But suddenly, like the melody sung by an angel, I heard cop sirens in the distance coming closer. Suddenly, they stopped. I knew they heard them too. What occurred after was them rushing to the other end of the room and breaking the window, presumably to get out from the back. Sadly, they did. By the time the cops got in, the person was long gone. The only evidence of them being there was a broken window. They found me in the closet, and after some questioning, drove me to my sister's house while they had a cop car scout my home for a few days. I know I shouldn't have, but I went looking for the website again. I couldn't find anything relating to it, though. I'm sure it is still out there, if only you're willing to look hard enough. You have been listening to a presentation of Point of Insanity Game Studio. Visit us on the web at poigamestudio.com. Follow us on Twitter at poigamestudio. Look us up on Facebook and email us at poigamestudio@gmail.com.